Guys, I just got the urge to do a cycle. I was gonna say something else, but it's a cycle reading. What cycle do you need to break? Because I kind of had a moment of like an epiphany, and it made something make sense for me. Some action I'm about to take, some feeling I have, or I was about to take action on. And then I remembered what I've done in the past that led me to the situation I'm in right now. And it was that same feeling, right? It's the same feeling. All right, I'll get serious. But I want to get into that for my collective because I was like, this would be great for the collective. So God, please allow my spirit team to surround me with love and support, truth and guidance. Only those who are here for my highest good and the highest good of my collective, may they surround me right now so that I can provide messages to the collective about what cycle they need to break. It's gonna be a quick reading, you guys. I think it'll be quick. Let's see. I might do like a longer version for each of the zodiacs, but I haven't decided yet, but we'll see how this goes. Whoa, hold on, I didn't. Sorry. I'm flustered. I've come undone. So let's get out of that and come back to center. So please show me, what cycle does my YouTube collective need to break right now? What cycle does the collective need to break right now? I'm gonna pull 4 cards total. First card for cycle, please. Okay, let's get the second card. And I need the third card, please, for the advice. And lastly, the fourth card. That's 2, 1 card for the fourth card, please. All right. Woo, ooh la la. 10 of Cups at the overall energy at the bottom of the deck, so let's get into it. Okay, so what? Okay, and this came up in my last reading. Let me just tell you what it is, because I'm thinking and I'm not speaking. This is the Fool, the dreamer. So the cycle that needs to be broken, some of you might be in a my nails, please. I know it's bad, okay? My nail's terrible right now, just let's ignore that. Some of you might be in a constant state of thinking about starting something new, but you haven't actually started something new, or there's like a constant new beginning. Maybe some of you are constantly starting over, and I'm feeling, yeah, for some of you, this is like a, geez. I'm being reminded of somebody I know, but I don't want to confuse that with the energy for my collective, but I think it's an example for a reason. And I'm hearing that song in my head, whoa, 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 I'm only gonna break your heart. And that's a terrible, really petty song, but no offense to Jason Derulo, it's not the song itself, it's the message. At least I guess he was being honest, and I'm getting sidetracked. Some of you, it's like you're addicted to new starts. You're addicted to the beginning, but you don't want to see something through. So that's the cycle that for some of you needs to be broken. It's like you don't feel settled in at all to something. You start something and it's like you get attached to that feeling of something just beginning. Oh, I never noticed before the angel that's standing here in this doorway, and I almost called it an archway. I don't know if that's significant to somebody. But there's this angel here. It's like they're watching you take this new beginning, but they're almost wondering, so what's next? What are we going to do with this new beginning? And no, my left ear is ringing, so that's not the main point. What I feel like is for some of you, it's like, what are you going to do with this new beginning? What does it really mean for you? Where do you want it to take you? Where do you want it to take you? So it's not so much a pressure of what's next. It's more of a like, what does your heart desire? And the heart has been coming up a lot. Love has been coming up a lot. And sometimes we can be so limited in our way of thinking as people that we don't think about love in the bigger sense. Like love not even only just for yourself, but love for what you really have love for. You know, what really, and this is why I think maybe what sparks joy has been so important in my readings lately. Because it's like, what makes you really happy? What does bring you joy? What is in your heart? And in order to find that, you may have to do some deep self-reflection so that you can embark on a new beginning and then expand on that new beginning rather than getting really, really bored with it. Whoever I'm talking to, I feel like you get bored. You could be an air sign. If this is really resonating for you, you don't have to be, or it could just be a good placement in your chart for air or something that makes you just get bored very easily. And the contentment and excitement you felt, it's like it just reduces significantly when you feel like you conquered something. But let's see what's the obstacle to your cycle. Yeah. I feel like I just talked all through this about this, but yeah, it's the Eight of Pentacles, wanting to stick with it and wanting to work toward it, expand on it, learn all you can about it, see it through. But at the bottom of this card, I like that it says skilled work that you love. See, love is so important, and there's green all around this card. And green is like the color of love. You know, it's not red and pink like we like to think. It's green. So I feel like this is saying, like, do you love what you're doing, or this new beginning that you've taken? Is it something that speaks to your heart? Is it something that helps you open your heart chakra and feel connected? Or is it something that you're doing for something else? What is your new beginning connected to for you? Is it feeding your ego, or is it feeding your need, your soul? That's what I feel with that. What's our advice in this situation for the collective? Oh, I just said something about the ego, and for some reason this came up as advice. So in this deck, the ego is basically the devil card. And it's basically what this is saying to me right now, having this come out, and I'm really seeing the light that's breaking the chains. That's what you need right now. This is your advice. I feel like there's an inkling already within you that you see and you feel that you've been focused on not necessarily the wrong thing, but you've gotten almost complacent, and that is devil energy. Complacence. You've gotten kind of complacent with this way of being, whether it's you constantly like, oh, I started a new job and now I don't like it. It's not the way I thought it was going to be. I have to leave. And then how do you leave? You know, what emotions are awakened within you, and how do you act on those emotions? I feel like you might be constantly repeating some sort of pattern, and you keep ending up in the same spot, and then you start again. And it's like a new start, and you think like, oh, okay, finally, I got out of that. It could be dating. I'm seeing this person, and I'm so bored with them now. Ugh, she said she likes me too. Now I'm bored. Ugh, he wants to take me on a second date. He brought me roses. Something about that is so boring. And then you're like, I need somebody else. I need somebody that's going to make my heart flutter. What is it you're actually looking for? What is it you're actually trying to fill? What void is it you're trying to fill with these new beginnings that are keeping you in the same situation, in the same cycle? This is the illusion of being trapped. Accept responsibility for your situation and then make choices that support your path to happiness. So this is about you seeing the light. It's about you being the light in your own situation. See, in this Fool card in the beginning of the reading, the Fool is walking out, or the dreamer in this deck is walking out of the darkness and into the light. But it's like your light is chained. It's chained to something else, and you have to break free from that for it to be exposed. So something, because the sword is coming through and it's an angel doing it. So it's like you've been getting these messages, I feel, from your spirit team and even your own subconscious. Like, you know, your higher self has been telling you that something is amiss, right? There's a hair in the butter. You're not taking action on that. I'm sorry, I don't know. I might still be in corporate mode. I don't know why I'm saying things like that. There's a hair in the butter. I don't know. Anyway, something is preventing you from cracking these chains open and letting that light break free. That leads you to something that is truly fulfilling to you. Okay? 10 of Cups is what was at the overall energy at the bottom of the deck. And it's like, that's what you want overall. Like something really, really fulfilling, something long lasting, something everlasting, something that brings you true joy. But there's something you're doing that you are doing that's preventing you from achieving that goal, from breaking free of this merry-go-round is what I'm feeling. It's like a merry-go-round, but you're not treating it that way. It's like each time you think it's something new, but you're doing the same thing over and over again. There's something that you need to reflect on. Perhaps meditation would be helpful, but it's time that you be honest with yourself with this sword here. This sword is like your inner self, your highest self, and your inner child working together, and your spirit team, because they see you're ready to break free from whatever this is. You have to meet them halfway, and you have to be honest with yourself, is what I'm feeling. So I feel like you'll know what the cycle is. If it's something in your life that maybe you feel is mundane or it's just really unfulfilling to you, but you keep going with it. It could be a pattern in your thinking. It could be a pattern in the way you date people, or the relationships that you end up in, or the jobs that you end up in, and how you get those jobs, how you leave those jobs, how you meet these people. Because it's not always the relationship itself. It's how you are entertaining it, how you are engaging, how you're entering and exiting the situation. Okay? Woo. I'm feeling energy right now. I really am. So let's get the outcome. If you heed this advice that that God is giving us right now, that the spirit team is giving me right now, and I'm so thankful for it, like, what's the outcome if we can get out of our egos and take an honest look at what we want and what we've been holding ourselves back from? Getting out of that damn cycle. Two of wands. I thought it was gonna be grand, and it is grand though, because again, this is the overall energy. So it's like you'll be taking your next steps, you'll be moving, because the Two of Cups, it's like, oh my God, I just heard the most cheesy, who's sending me these clear audio messages right now? I just heard, I've got the muse in me. It's like Broadway sounding. But it's like you've got magic in one hand and you've got the world in your other hand. You know, you could be partnering up with someone, but it's like your two minds are going to unite, and so that you can make progress and move toward your 10 of Cups, your true happiness, your success, what's going to build your legacy. And so that is a very good outcome, because you'll be able to see clearly, and it's not going to be like, I feel like because you may be thinking, oh, this is going to be forever, that's too hard. I don't think so. I mean, it's not always easy to self-reflect, but I think once you figure out what this is, once you do your inner work, this is going to require shadow work probably, or just some meditation, which is shadow work as well. But for it to come to you, what is it that's really holding you back? Something that you're actively participating in. And I'm being reminded again, thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm being reminded of the Truman Show. And I'm hearing the music that he hears when he's figuring out that something isn't right. Every time he starts to notice that people are lying to him, or that the world around him has been set up and that it's not really his world or what he should be doing, there's a certain song that starts playing, and you see this look in his eye like, what's going on? Something isn't right. You have to notice what that thing is that causes that music to start in your mind, where you're like, something is off, and follow that feeling, follow that thought, follow it, because that's going to lead you to what needs to be broken so that you can get out of whatever's keeping you in a cycle of stagnation in some area of your life, because it's time for you to snap out of the matrix, my friends, okay? Let's see. I want to use an archetype card. I'm not even sure what question to ask for these cards. I'm just gonna say, what do we need to know from this? And we'll see. I'll ask for a clue. I was just led to ask for a clue. So Holy Spirit, angels, ancestors, and guides, please give my collective a clue about what's going on in this reading. What's a clue for them about what this cycle might be right now in their life? Student, light attributes, humility and devotion to knowledge, openness to lifelong learning. Shadow attributes, arrogance. Sorry, I didn't show you all the card. Shadow attributes, arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge. Unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. Knowledge into action, knowledge into action. Breaking free, acknowledging that little voice in your mind that's been saying to you, some ain't right, because for some of you, I feel like you already have an inkling of what this is, but you've been trying to push it down. And I'm hearing Solange now. I try to drink it away, but you can't. It's there. It's not going away. It's something that you're going to have to address. You're going to have to address it and put the knowledge that you have into action. Let's see if we can get another one. Can we get any more clues about what this is for my collective, please? Ooh. This one is not easy, okay? But it's something that we all have to work through. Wounded child. Light attributes. Awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children. Opens the learning path of forgiveness. Shadow attributes. Blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds. Ooh. Resists moving on through forgiveness. So some of you may be using something as a crutch. This may be related because this is a clue. So it may be related to your childhood trauma, your childhood wounds, or it's like something else where you're using something that happened to you as a crutch. It's like your go-to excuse for something. If you have any situation where you're just quick to say, well, that's because, and you just write it off, you may need to sit down and really reflect on what that is. If there's something that happened to you when you were a child, a moment that really sticks out to you, a moment where there was somebody you looked up to and that you felt like you could trust, like you felt good around. And as a child, that's a great feeling, you feel secure until someone breaks that feeling. So there was a moment in your childhood, somebody I'm speaking to right now, there was a moment where there was somebody you looked up to and they hurt your feelings somehow very deeply. And you know that. It hasn't ever really left you. Even though it happened very, very long ago, it sticks very fresh in your mind. And when something bad happens, or maybe if there's a negative behavior you do, or maybe there's an addiction you have, or you react a certain way to something, and you're like, well, that's because this happened to me, even if you just think it internally. That's a wound that you need to address. You're like, what happened? Okay, so go back to that moment in your mind. You may need to meditate on that moment, replay it. Unfortunately, sometimes when you're doing shadow work, you have to relive certain memories so that you can be brave and see them through, right? You couldn't defend yourself when you were a child. You didn't know what to say when you were a child, okay? You didn't know what to say, but you're an adult now. And you know what to say. So speak to yourself the way you wish you had been spoken to in that situation. Speak to the other person who hurt you in that memory the way you could have spoken to them had you known what you know now, but you couldn't when you were a child. This is a part of healing and shadow work. You have to face these things, these crutches that you kind of crutch and then you ignore. You can't just, ignore those things as you're healing, because they have to be healed so you can move forward in your journey, whether that's your material journey or your spiritual journey, because at some point they become very intertwined, okay? And if you're on my channel and you actually like my readings, you probably are at that stage or getting somewhere close to it where you're like, I need to figure this out. And so if you're trying to do some more shadow work, I would highly suggest meditation. And even though it can be uncomfortable as you're strengthening and healing and doing that work, those memories will become less and less difficult to explore. And you'll start to realize that you're so, different from the person you were, the child you were at that time, or whatever stage you were in your life when it happened, okay? Whoever needs to hear that. Yeah, somebody might have been a bully to you. This is what was at the bottom. Some of you may be dealing with some variation of a bully now in your life. That's a reflection of a bully in your I was about to say past life. So for some of you, this is a past life lesson that you're still being tested on in this life. So you may not even realize that this is a very significant situation from a past life that's echoing for you now. And so you need to do some really deep digging, perhaps some meditation, some prayer. Ask to be shown what it is you need to heal. But it's something that's repeating from the past. It's like a pattern that's been born from a situation or a very vivid moment that you sometimes replay, okay? And after we look at that, let's get a Power of Surrender card. And my heart is hurting. I'm so sorry. It must have been a very painful thing for you, whoever I'm speaking to. And it can be scary to think about facing those things. But I can tell you, it's worth it. It's worth it to face those things. But do it at a pace that you can handle, all right? You don't want to start just going 0 to 120 if you're not ready to maybe see or rehear those things in your mind. Like, just pace yourself. But that's a part of shadow work, all right? So saying, what does my YouTube collective need to surrender regarding this cycle? Whoa, oh yeah. Surrender unhealthy relationships. Surrender unhealthy relationships. Let go of relationships that don't serve you, including unavailable or toxic people. You deserve to be treasured by others and to be surrounded by positive people. And this is not just in your romantic life. This is in every relationship you have. If you're feeling like somebody is being a bully, whether it's romantic love or you feel like somebody is purposely isolating you and making you feel left out romantically in any situation, work situation, family situation, that's some shadow work that needs to be done so that you can see clearly and get your way out of this cycle. All right, and don't freak out about it because we all have this work to do. It's a process, but knowing is definitely a part of the battle, a big part of the battle, and you can get started on working through it. The bottom here, we have surrender to setting limits. So some of you may have had your boundaries violated at some point in your life in some way, whether it was physical or whether it was mental. Somebody just didn't really care for the boundaries you would try to set or for your personal space. So this says it's healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs and remember that no is a complete sentence, okay? You guys are great. I hope this was helpful to you in some way, and I'll be back soon with another reading. Bye.